Against the flow. Against the flow. Love the snake. Against the flow.
Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome to another brand new edition of Against the Flow. With me, Jordan. Today in the program, pag-uusapan natin ng isang bagay na lahat tayo siguro naranasan natin. Because I recently just watched this series na medyo naging trending. And it's got me thinking some realizations that I want to share in the program today. So we've all experienced siguro having a run-in with somebody, whether it's a complete stranger or somebody nakilala nyo. At nagkaroon kayo ng tinatawag na beef. No, I'm not talking about that kind of beef. I'm talking about this definition, itong slang definition, a conflict with someone or a complaint against someone. So pag-usapan natin sa programa today, paano ba natin i-avoid to or how it's bad for your health talaga. So keep here how to go against the beef on this edition of Against the Flow.
Against the flow.
You're on Against the Flow and our official hashtag, pakigamit nyo lang ang ATF Beef. You know me, I'm a meat person, pero I try to avoid beef with people. I'd rather have it on my plate, no? Because beef is not good. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, yung series, I'm not really going to recommend it, but we have some learnings from that para sa mga nakapanood nito. Like, you know, a lot of lessons because we all experience this And as a Christian, we have to find out what does the Bible tell us about this as well so we can avoid beef outbreak. Unang-una sa lahat, beef affects everybody. Lahat tayo affected nito. There's no rich, there's no poor. We all have this one chance meet with somebody maybe on the road and then tempers flare and you have a bad day. And before you know it, yung road rage na yun, it could erupt into something more, you know. But this can be avoided. One needs to know that there is also harm that it can bring to those around you. So, affected ka, pero kapag masyado ka nagpa-apekto nito, you're gonna bring it home and then people in your house are also gonna be affected. Buti sana kung ikaw lang ang apektado nito, ano? Once upon a time daw, merong isang tatay na nag-work, nasigawan siya ng kanyang boss. Kaya pag uwi niya sa bahay, sinalubong siya ng kanyang anak. Sabi niya, "Hi daddy." Ang ginawa ng tatay, sinigawan din yung anak niya. So yung anak, umalis, umiiyak, at may nakitang aso at sinipa niya yung aso. At yung aso naman umalis at nangagat ng tao. So you see, one thing, merong chain reaction, one thing leads to the other. The thing is, you don't need to go through all this hassle in life because you're allowed to let it go out of proportion. James chapter 1 verse 20 says, "For the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God." So guess what it produces?
Hey! What's up guys? I am Jericho Arceo and I go against the flow. Hindi porke uso, tama. You know what I'm saying? God bless everyone. Peace! Ha!
Against the flow. Love the snake.
We're back here on ATF and we're talking about going against beef. No, hindi yung kinakain, okay? Yung meron kang conflict sa ibang tao. I mean, how can you avoid that? You can avoid that. That's the second thing I'm going to tell you. That even though we're affected by beef, I mean, we're going to get tempted to get mad and all, but it can be avoided. Imagine if dun sa series, kasi dun sa kwento, meron dalawang strangers na nagkaroon lang sila ng slight road rage incident. Pero nag-escalate yun, naghabulan sila. But what if yung isang character nag-take more time to just take a breath, you know, take more inhale, exhale. And then, you know, kasi both of them were having a bad day. And that's the thing kapag pinagsanib mo pa yung dalawang tao may bad day, talagang very bad day yung mangyayari. So, this series shows us that people can be triggered. And so, triggered people trigger people as well. Now, can't we all just stop triggering one another? We live in a world that is full of triggers. Look what Proverbs 51 says, para ma-avoid natin yung mga ganon insidente. It says, "A kind answer soothes anger." Okay? So it soothes angry feelings. And if you don't, subukan nyo nga lang yun. Kapag merong sumigaw sa'yo, pag sinigawan mo yun yung pabalik, lalong lalakas yung volume pabalik din sa'yo. Pero hinahan mo lang, mainhin lang, you see how the different it will be. So what does the Bible tells us? Look at some of these verses in Ephesians chapter 4. It talks about you shouldn't let the sun go down while you're still angry because nakakaroon ng kapit. And if you're gonna get angry, you better be, the Bible says slow to anger, di ba? Huwag ka masyadong mabilis magalit. It says stop being angry. Turn from your rage. Do not lose your temper. It only leads to harm.
Against the flow.
This is Against the Flow, and we're giving you warnings today. Get it? On beef. Now, beef makes us stupid. Yes, be careful. Because kapag ang isang tao nagalit masyado, minsan yung kapasidad natin na mag-isip ng tama, nawawala. Di ba may nga nagsasabi, nang dilim kasi yung paningin ko or nagulat lang sila sa ginawa nila. And that's the thing, you never want to act out of anger. You never want to make decisions or permanent decisions on a temporary feeling. The Bible tells us this, people with understanding control their anger. A hot temper shows great foolishness. So the more angry you are, the less brain you're using. So what started as a simple thing can quickly escalate into a spiral of bad decision making, and it becomes endless. And there's bad blood and even more bad blood, and ridiculous things end up happening that you will regret. So the lesson is, do not allow your capacity to think to be clouded and overrun by angry emotions. You must avoid beef at all costs.
Against the flow.
You are on Against the Flow. We're talking about how beef or having beef with someone or conflict or stored up anger is not good. Now, when it comes to beef, I learned that beef has many influencers pala. You need to be careful of the people or environment around you that may contribute to the madness, okay? There's intergenerational trauma. Totoo yan. It can be passed, like maybe an upbringing. And it turns out, dun sa kwentong napanood ko, yung isang character na galit dun sa isang character, meron siyang issues with the parents in the past. So pinapakita yon. And this has affected some of her behavior as she grew up. Now the Bible tells us in Ephesians chapter 6 verse 4 that the parents, or lalo na yung mga tatay, you should not anger or you should not trigger your kids, okay? You're not to provoke your children to anger, sabi doon. But you love them. That's how you raise them. Pero yung nangyari doon sa character na babae, medyo hindi magandang naging treatment sa kanya growing up. And that's why apektado siya kahit matanda na siya. Now, yung isang character naman na lalaki, meron siyang isang pinsan who was supposed to be a role model for him, pero became a very bad influence. So he got him doing some illegal activities. So may mga tao dyan talaga na gatong no? Yung mga, sige nga, hawakan mo sa ilong. Imbes na maging peacemaker, sila yung parang tumutulak sa'yo makipag-away. I'll never forget to sa pinanood ko na he wanted to forgive yung isang character and just let her off the hook. Pero yung pinsan niya, she's like, no, you gotta keep fighting. So parang dahil doon, na-influensya siyang magpatuloy sa circus of fighting. And nonsense yung mga fighting nila, no? So consider these verses. In Proverbs 22:24, it says, do not make friends with a hot-tempered person. Do not associate with one easily angered. So kung may tropa ka dyan na masyadong madaling magalit, maybe hindi sila yung nagagalit, pero sila yung taga-provoke or sila yung taga-gatong sa iyo. Be careful sa mga yon. Proverbs 15:18 says, a hot-tempered person starts fights. A cool-tempered person stops them. So lalong-lalo na din online, marami ngayon, in real life, hindi siguro sila nagsasagutan, nag-aaway, tahimik dito, pero sa online, doon maingay. So you need to have a better support system talaga. People around you who will influence you. Now, going back to the series that I watched, there is a church scene over there that became viral. Na dumating siya doon, meron siyang issues, anger issues, and then parang nakaka-touch nga kasi na-bless siya habang nakakantahan sila ng worship song. So the church community does help talaga. And I like how in the series it was portrayed as something positive rather than make a mockery out of the faith or shots fired. I hope na Hollywood or more films like this are going to be seen as showing the church as a positive thing for a person's mental state. Because it is. Because if you find the right people talaga, godly people who will influence your life, then the less beef we will have.
Against the flow. Of the snake.
Another lesson regarding beef is that it should be squashed immediately. Okay? So you need to know when to stop talaga. Like when you are developing angry feelings. So again, the Bible says be slow to anger. And if you're going to be angry, then in your anger, do not sin. Kung ikaw nagmamaneho ko sa kalye, merong nakipag-git-gitan sa'yo, siningitan ka, or binusinahan ka, natural lang magalit ka siguro and you have some heat in your head. And so, hindi pa kasalanan yun, di ba? Pero iba na rin yung mumurahin mo or magre-react ka out of anger or nakipagsuntukan ka, nakipag-away ka talaga, naging physical na. That's not good, guys. So, when you reach this breaking point, you need to remember there's always a small window that we can muster enough willpower to get out and get over those emotions. Because we saw in the series many opportunities for the fire to be put out. But rather than patayin yung sunog, nilagyan pa ng gasolina. Yung may gatong, may mga ganon. So, we need to forgive more quickly to put out the small spark that can potentially lead to an out-of-control wildfire. So the Bible tells us this, do not let the sun go down while you're still angry, because it says later on, don't give the devil a foothold, because nagkakaroon nga ng kapit yung galit. Kaya dapat patawarin mo na bago matapos yung araw mo, kasi pag next day, maaaring wala na yun sa ulo mo, meaning malamig na yung head mo, you have cool heads, pero baka nasa puso mo na yan at puot na yan. And every time you see that person, may galit. And then naiipon, and then before you know it, you explode. So better squash that beef before it's too late. Don't allow the anger to latch on. It will never be worth it. Huwag mong pagbigyan yan, okay? And the Bible says in Ecclesiastes 7:9, be not quick in your spirit to become angry, for anger lodges in the heart of fools. So, gagawin kang fool ng anger mo. So, don't let it latch on. How many times have we seen in our own lives? Maybe that's why so many people can relate to sa napanood na series, because we all find ourselves in beef with somebody today. Maybe not recently, pero we know in the past. And too many times, we blow something out of proportion. Meaning to say, hindi naman talaga kailangan tumagal pa, lumaki pa, yung maliit na issue, lumalaki because of yung anger. So, who knows if in the end, the person whose life you're trying to end actually ends up the one saving yours.
What's up, hardcore worshippers?
Against the flow.
You are still with us on Against the Flow, brought to you by the Church of the Nazarene and this station. Now, before we go, I want to remind you to please like our Facebook page, Against the Flow Media. We've got also Instagram, TikTok, Against the Flow TV. We got Twitter at Against the Flows, and you can email at weareagainsttheflow@gmail.com.
Against the flow.
So guys, when it comes to beef, okay, get it out of your system or diet. Yung beef na conflict sa ibang tao. Life is too short to be angry all the time. And you waste time when you're trying to tear others down who got on your nerves. So rather than cultivate beef or wrath or yung poot or yung galit. Cultivate kindness. It's gonna do you better, I tell you. And you know what? It's never too late for anyone. If you've been living an angry life all your life and napansin mo, bakit nga ba akong ganito? Maybe you want to ask yourself that. Maybe it has something to do with your upbringing. Maybe it has something to do with traumas in the past. But the good news is may hope, may pag-asa. Kayang-kaya tayong pagalingin ng Lord sa anumang mga hurts na to so that we don't become hurt people who hurt people, but we will become healed people who help heal other people. Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching and listening. My name is Jordan, reminding you only dead fish swim with the current. So let's go against the flow.
Kontra mi sa sug, kutok yan